Well, let's cross over now, though, to Shadow National Security Minister Alicia Kearns. Alicia, welcome to the programme. Alicia, let's just start with Keir Starmer. Now, he's secured some visa-free travel, apparently, in China. But this wouldn't really be good for you, because weren't you sanctioned by China when you went there?
So I've never been to China, sadly, and I won't be going anywhere in the short term. But if I was Prime Minister, I'd be pretty disappointed with this, because essentially he's gone out there with a begging bowl to try and solve his self-inflicted economic woes. He's come back with so very little. But what he has done is send a very clear message to the Chinese Communist Party that they can just crack on with the hostile acts that they've been conducting against our country. And there'll be not only no repercussions, but actually they'll get a propaganda coup in the British Prime Minister walking down red carpets over in Beijing.
But wasn't it your government who allowed them to purchase the land for the Chinese embassy? You must have known what it was for.
And you know that I spoke out against it from the very, very moment. But actually, the key thing is we rejected it in the end. We said, no, we're not going to allow this to go ahead. And what happened was the Chinese waited for the election. And as soon as the election happened, they put them back in again. But I do want to touch on our record here, because Keir Starmer has been very clear to try and say that he's having to unfreeze the Conservatives' ice age with the Chinese Communist Party. We responded to their actions. He's abdicating them of their responsibilities. We froze trade deals and trade talks because of their actions in Hong Kong. We stopped doing what we were doing because of the cyber attacks that they were conducting against our country, because they took Jimmy Lai, a British national who has never been Chinese, hostage. We responded to their acts of aggression and said, no, we will not continue business as usual with them. And he's just washed all that away and wants to blame us rather than the Chinese Communist Party.
So, Alicia, is it one-way traffic? I mean, how we talk about how we're responding to them. How are they responding to us?
Well, let's look at the record over the last 18 months. We've seen an increase in cyber attacks against our country. We've had a spy put at the heart of British Parliament. We've had attacks on refugees outside the Manchester consulate of the Chinese Communist Party. Right. These are responses we've seen. And then when Keir Starmer goes begging and simpering to Beijing this week, what does he get in return? Some slightly easier tourism opportunities. And I'm glad for our whisky industry. We want to support our whisky industry. But if you were Prime Minister, wouldn't you be a little bit ashamed if, having given them the embassy that they made as a precondition of the visit, you didn't even get sanctions lifted off MPs, you didn't get a reduction in hostile acts against our country, and you didn't result in anything meaningful.
So, Alicia, what do we appear to need when you listen to the Prime Minister and the Labour Party in general? They talk about generating work and wealth and all that sort of thing, and they need to generate this for the country, and they think they can do that via China. How can we do that without kissing their backsides?
So they are absolutely desperate because they need to solve what they've done to our economy. They keep talking about China being our third largest trading party, and that's actually quite misleading, because China has a £37 billion trade surplus with us. So actually we are important to China. Actually, all goods exports from the UK, exports overall are down under this government between 27 to 40%. So let's get very real here. We are not a small country. I'm sick and tired of the Labour Party suggesting that we need to go with begging bowls and that we are not fundamentally important. We do not have a place in the world. We do. This visit has completely undermined that. And what it has said is, our doors are open. Do whatever you need to do with us, and we will still come begging and call you a strong and good friend. It is absolutely the wrong thing for our national security this visit. I would be clear-eyed. I would be transactional, because that's how the Chinese do business. And I would say, let's go sector by sector. We will work with you on the following, but if we want to work with you on the following and do a deal, you better stop conducting cyber attacks against our country. You better release Jimmy Lai, whatever it may be that's the priority at that point.
Connects to public Wi-Fi. Anyone nearby could snoop on what you're doing. Hackers can steal your information, passwords, photos, and bank details in just seconds. ExpressVPN encrypts your connection, making it virtually impossible for hackers to access your personal information. ExpressVPN is so easy to use. With just one click of a button, you're protected. Streaming, banking, or shopping, you can switch between high-speed servers worldwide in seconds, and your connection never slows down. Click the link in the description or scan the QR code to get up to 75% off, plus 4 extra months free, all backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee. Protect your online life today.
I like the way you talk, Alicia, but
it's easy when you're in the shadow,
strong.
isn't it?
You're talking strong, and that's assuming that we have strength against China, or that we deserve to be taken notice of. I mean, the idea, the concept, and you were saying how the Labour Party seem to see the relationship is, they seem to see the relationship as China is the all-powerful one.
Always busy apologising for our history and being ashamed of who we are. We should be proud of who Britain is. We are a P5 country. We are a NATO state. We are fundamental. And when I used to be chair of the Foreign Affairs Committee, I would travel around the world and have meetings. And it wasn't because I was Alicia Kearns. It was because I represented the British Parliament that I would have one-to-one meetings with presidents and prime ministers of almost every single country I visited to, because Britain matters on the world stage. We have that heft. We have that respect. And if you are not willing to respect our country and stand up for us, then you have no place being Prime Minister.
And what about COVID? Because I would be asking China for reparations for that. Should he be talking about COVID at all? Because that, we know now, came from China. I think most people knew at the time it came from China. And they kept things quiet, they hid things, it spread globally. And there was and lots of us suffered as a result of it.
It's not the first time that they've hidden a pandemic or major illness, and I was one of the first people in Parliament to say that because of their record of covering things up, I was very concerned about what might happen with COVID, which I think we were calling something else at the time. But you're absolutely right. You know, Keir Starmer wants to land political blows against us on this, but as you said, COVID, he's abdicating them for that and their actions there. He's abdicating them for their support of Putin as he does the renewed illegal invasion of Ukraine, abdicating him of responsibility for all the hostile acts they've conducted against our country. And MI6 has been very clear on this. They are the number one strategic threat to our country. And having to deal with all the threats they're throwing at us takes up a significant amount of our security services' time.
Alicia, got to leave it there.
Thank
you very much indeed. Some straight talking there. And Olivia Utley, our political correspondent, listening to that. What do you think?
Well, it's Alicia Kearns was very compelling, I think, on GB News this morning, but it's quite an easy gig for an opposition MP. It does feel as though this very, very controversial trip that Starmer has taken to China has proved perhaps less exciting, less productive than many had hoped. He's managed to secure this visa-free travel deal with China, which means that Brits can travel to China.
He's managed to secure. Everybody's got this deal.
Everybody's
got this deal.
So it's no big deal at all.
Exactly. And he's also managed to get this tariff-free whiskey deal with China as well. Apart from that, there doesn't seem to be any real meat on the bones of these basically just conversations with President Xi. There's lots of talk from both sides about how these two great countries need each other, but the Chinese haven't actually given Britain anything, which does raise the question, why did the Prime Minister go over to China? It was the first time that a Prime Minister has visited in 8 years. And of course, the Chinese have sanctions on 5 MPs and also 2 peers. Now, Starmer has suggested that President Xi could return to the UK for another visit. He last came in 2015. That has caused outrage in the House of Commons. Tim Loughton, a Conservative MP who has been sanctioned by China, is furious at the suggestion. And Lindsay Hoyle, the Speaker, has said that President Xi couldn't speak in the Houses of Parliament unless those sanctions on those MPs and peers have been lifted. So I think when Keir Starmer returns to the UK, there's going to be quite a lot of angry MPs from both sides of the House, and also probably some quite angry voters as well. Keir Starmer has got a bit of a reputation for travelling a lot as Prime Minister. He spent 16% of his time as Prime Minister, a sixth of his time since July 2024 when he was elected, overseas. Now, lots of people, lots of GB News viewers, I think, from looking at our comments and emails back home, think perhaps he should be more focused on domestic issues. And I think that'll be a question that lots and lots of MPs will be asking, especially given that this trip doesn't seem to have given us anything concrete. But perhaps we'll find out more in the future.
Perhaps